Shalom Aleichem, everybody, and it's good to have your company while we do this class on Parshas Behar. The Parshas Behar starts off with the verses which simply relate to the idea of when the Jews will come into the land. It starts off as follows: that when you enter the land must rest on Shabbos for Hashem, and you're allowed to do some work in the following in the years, but in the seventh year, the land must lie fallow, must have a rest. Now, as we read the parsha, we understand the concept of Shabbos in our week. In our week, 6 days we work, the seventh day we rest, and we show Hashem's original creative powers, and we emphasize Hashem's creation of the world by resting on the seventh day, on Shabbat, and our involvement emphasizes that. In a similar manner, we have the idea of that same representation over the agricultural land of Israel, and as we just expressed what the verse says, the verse says that when the Jews will come into Israel, they give the land a rest, and as the verse says, "Daber b'nei Yisrael v'amat lehem ki savo el oretz asher ani noisen lachem." So when you come into the land that I'm going to give to them, v'shovsa ha'oretz shavs Hashem, the land should rest by observing an agricultural type of Shabbos, and in honor of Hashem, and an acknowledgement of the fact that Hashem created. And then the verse goes on and says, once you've conquered the land and you've settled in the land, 6 years, you work the land, and the seventh year acts as a Shabbos, as a resting period for the land, that you can renew the land and the growth. But there are deeper meanings to this. But firstly, let's address a very particular question. The verse, as we just read it, told us that when you come into the land, the first thing that we do, the first commandment that is given is ki sove el oretz. When you come to the land, v'shovsa, the land should rest. So, does that follow the regular pattern of our service, of our life? As we say before, 6 days you shall work, and the seventh day you rest, and the same thing goes when they went in the land. They had to conquer the land, do things in the land, and after that period of time, did they require to make the land rest? So, in what way, or what is the purpose of the verse actually saying? Immediately as they enter the land, there's this idea of the land has to rest. So Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people that even before they entered Eretz Yisrael, that there has to be a Shabbos, a resting time for the land, for Hashem. The land must observe the mitzvah of resting, which we call the Shmita period. And in that Shmita period, in that seventh year, it is forbidden to work the land, to sow the land, and it's forbidden to explicitly harvest any new produce. And if a person says, "How will we survive?" Hashem has already answered that by saying that He will provide extra abundance in the years prior to that, in the sixth year, so that the land will produce sufficient, that there will be enough left over in the sixth year for the seventh year, and even portions for the eighth year, so that there will be sufficient, or there'll be there will be sufficient, that Hashem and Hashem's hand is bountiful, that Hashem will provide enough and sufficient, not just sufficient, but more than enough, in an abundant manner in the 6 years for the seventh year. So we then reassert our question. We reassert a question. So that benefits, that blessings in the land can only come after you've worked the land for the 6 years. So why does the verse then tell us why does Moshe Rabbeinu say in the verse, when you come into the land and you'll make the land, you'll give the land rest? Surely we have to have the years of working the land first. From this, we can learn an ultimate truth, that the ultimate purpose of the entry of the Jewish people into the land of Israel was not so much for them to work the land, to sow the fields, produce the vineyards, and produce the wine from the vineyards. Rather, the purpose is that there should be a seventh year. Ultimately, the purpose of going into the land is that there should be blessings, and the person should be blessed with all the blessings of the fields and of the vineyards. And therefore, since the ultimate purpose was for that the blessings should come in an abundance to the children of Israel, and with that abundance, they will have the necessary requirements for the next year to be a peaceful year, that the mothers and the fathers could devote time to their education of their sons and daughters without any disturbances, because everything was already being prepared beforehand for them. So this is understood, so that when the Jewish nation would come, as they're told, prior to coming to the land, as they enter the land, that they should arrange themselves and keep in mind that their plans should be that ultimately that they should know immediately as they enter the land that their lives will be tasked in the first 6 years. They'll be able to have an abundance in the 6th year, so that they will be able to provide time and space for their families to be able to progress and to understand the spiritual nature of the year. So the period of Behar, that's Parshas of Behar, comes normally prior to the Shavuos period, to the Festival of Weeks, and when we celebrate the agricultural, and that time as we mean the Torah, and the agricultural time of the time when they brought in the harvest, so that people could see and people could feel that Hashem has the abundance in store, and the blessings in store for them, so that not just in store, but they're actually reapable. It's actually produce on the land, and they can bring it in home. But even prior to that, as I said, in the Parshas Behar, normally is read at the ending period of the Sfira Sa'oma, when we're in the time when we read the actual Sfira count, and we count the one which is called Yesod, Yesod, and we come to the day which is Yesod Shabbat Yesod. That is to say, we go through this period where the week of Yesod is one of the last weeks, but literally Yesod means foundation, and we come to the day which is Yesod Shabbat Yesod. On that day, we feel the strength of Hashem's benefits that and promise that, and our expression and our understanding of it, and one of that Hashem is going to provide for us in abundance for the following year. And like everything in the Torah, this also relates to a person's Jewish home, even nowadays. Every Jewish home is compared to a Beis Hamikdash, of which it says, the Beis Hamikdash is my house. The temple of Hashem is my house, which is the house of prayer. It's Hashem's house. And Hashem says that I will dwell amongst them. I'm going to live in that house. And so Hashem lives in every single Jew's house. Hashem says that the Shekhinah comes with Hashem and with all the good things in every Jewish home, and it's because his benefits gives us all It's similar to how the Beis Hamikdash is served the entire Jewish people. So too every Jewish home is a miniature sanctuary, a miniature Beis Hamikdash. And for every individual family, the children and grandchildren in that home, so that in the idea of living amongst them in every corner of the house should be visible that Hashem's godliness rests there, together with all the blessings that Hashem has given every single person. So, beginning with the main blessing that every Jewish home should act as a Jewish home. Moreover, if it's a Hasidic home, that home should be conducted in a Hasidic way, and the idea of Hasidus that it goes beyond the letter of the law, not just in accordance with the law, but rather the feeling that Hashem lives in this house, and Hashem, with his generous hand, gives us his benefits, and because the Jews also conduct themselves in the manner of their Yiddishkeit, in a way of a generous hand, and therefore it goes beyond the letter of the law, and with measure, and with the extra measure of piety, with the idea of tzidkas. And this is also a specific lesson when it comes to a Jewish person, the balabos, the man or the woman of the house, the balabosta, particularly when it comes to any person who's just been recently married and together with the husband, they should be blessed with a good and healthy and successful year. Comes the idea that a person initially with the first thing in their mind establishes their new house and their house so that it is a visible house, that the ultimate purpose of that house is that it should be a house of plentifulness, blessed with the spiritual blessings of the house that comes from the idea of when you come into your land. The first thing you do is that you make the Shabbos to Hashem. You make that Shabbos to Hashem. And with that, a person has the idea that a person is not allowed to have anxieties because of going into starting his new house, because he knows that Hashem will provide everything that he's needed, and because he and she have been educated with the idea, the yesod should be yesod, the foundation of a person's understanding is that Hashem blesses the Jewish house, and every day, a person is blessed, as we say, in our Brichas Hamazon, in our grace after meals, that Hashem sustains every Jew, and in particular, the entire world with His goodness and with His grace and with His kindness and with His mercy. And so too, a person. So it's understood that when it comes to Hashem's goodness and Hashem's kindness, that He receives it immediately in a Shabbos like manner, already prepared for him in a package already prepared for him in a way that we've talked about, meaning that right from the person's beginning attitudes, when the beginning of their married life, or even their new year, they start off in a Shabbos-like manner, where they understand that they have the healthy food and healthy drinks. So in the same way, they have the healthy attitudes and fine attitudes, which brings out them. So this is the meaning of the verse, that when you come into Eretz Yisrael, when you're coming to the land, into this place of new beginning, and each day can be a new beginning for a person. It follows that he has to understand that the Parshas Behar promises him and her that you'll make the land rest, because you'll embed your full life with a spiritual life that is embedded in every Jewish home, and that's because the young couple have been trained, have been already understood, have been taught the yesod should be yesod, the foundation ideas in their previous times in their education, from their parents and their mother's home and the father's home, and they've received everything with the maximum of holiness, the maximum of Yiddishkeit, and the maximum of abundant spirituality that gives them gives them this strength. And as they receive it in a way of Yesod, it becomes a fundamental principle in their own conduct, and in understanding that, and when they conduct themselves in that way, Hashem Himself in turn doesn't suffice with just giving the minimum amount, but giving with abundance blessings, as He gives to every single Jew and the family every single day, becomes a source of extra blessings. And then every day is a day of blessings, and we have to give blessings to all our friends, as it happens the last previously in the last Shabbos. I was sitting next to a person, and that person was saying to his friend, even though we teach ourselves and we learn together, part of the sitting down of the Farbrengen is that each and every one of us should give our friends and our acquaintances blessings, give them brachas, that they should have a healthy life, a physical healthy life, without anything disturbing them health-wise. The same as spiritual wise, that you should have blessings, and this is the blessings of the Behar, of the Pasha of the Behar, that when you start a new life, and when you have the idea that Hashem is with you, that Hashem is giving you all the blessings, even though we have to do the work of the 6 days, you shall work, and Hashem gives you the Shabbos, but the blessings are there already, enabled in the heavens, ready for us to take them, and so also all the days of Sphira, each day itself is a new blessing. We evoke a new blessing from each of the days of the Sphira. So each day of the Sphira adds on blessings to the already existing blessings that we have. So I wish everyone, all of us, should have only good tidings, blessings, and nachas from our children and our families, and we should have blessings and see those ultimate blessings, see all the blessings, and ultimately we see the blessings that Hashem will take us back to to take us to Eretz Yisrael, and we will be there with Mashiach's kingdom.